Today's First Chapter Friday is an oldie but a goodie, especially if you are a hockey player. The book I'm featuring is Rebel Glory by Sigmund Bauer. Sigmund Bauer is an Alberta author, and his best friend growing up became an NHL player. And I think this whole hockey series that centers around the WHL hockey teams is all based on stories that his best friend would tell him about being in the WHL and then going on to become an NHL player. So this is an older copy, the one I held up. Then it has been republished with a new cover since then, so you might be able to look for either cover. So here we go, Chapter 1. With the referee dropping the puck at center ice to start the game, my defense partner, Jason Mulridge, decided to lose not only his mind, but also much of his hockey equipment. Only 2 months had passed since I had been traded to play defense for the Red Deer Rebels, and in that time I'd learned to expect great hockey moves from Jason. I had watched him stick handle while sliding on his knees. I had admired the way he hip-checked guys from out of nowhere, and I had been dazzled once to see him score with 2 guys wrapped around his shoulders. In my 25 games since joining the team in January, I had learned to expect nearly anything from number 33. But nothing in those 25 games had prepared me for the hockey move Jason was now making on the blue line beside me. The ref had his back to Jason and had just dropped the puck. As I glanced sideways to see if my defense partner was ready, Jason threw his gloves and stick high into the air. "Are you nuts?" I yelled, to be heard above the screaming of 5,000 unfriendly fans. Is he pulling off his gloves to fight? But who does he want to fight? Jason didn't reply. His glove did, though. It landed on my helmet and bounced to the ice. The other glove thunked down beside Jason. His stick slid across the ice towards me. "Are you nuts?" I yelled again. The fans roared louder at Jason's actions. We were in Lethbridge to play the Hurricanes, and their crowd was always tough on us. We didn't need this to make it worse, not when it was one of the most important games left in the season. Jason ignored me. He threw his helmet off and yanked his sweater over his head. It exposed his shoulder pads, the white skin of his thick arms, and a torn black t-shirt. Ahead of us, the 2 center icemen were fighting for control. The Hurricane center managed to kick the puck ahead, and it slid towards Jason. Jason, was he dancing at the blue line? It seemed to happen all at once. Jason threw his sweater towards me. It flew into my face like a blanket in the wind. I pulled it away from my eyes just in time to see the Hurricane right winger move in on the puck and sweep past Jason. The Hurricane center was close behind and skating around me. I took a step forward to stop them, but my skate landed on Jason's stick and I skidded to my knees. The rest of our guys were too far away to catch up. Jason was still on the blue line, grabbing at the nylon belt which held up his hockey pants. Great, 2 guys around us and swooping down on our goalie, and Jason was still undressing. The crowd's roar thundered. Maybe at the breakaway on our goalie, maybe at Jason, probably at both. On my knees, I was too stunned to stand, too stunned to yell at Jason again. A couple of our guys had stopped. The referee's whistle had fallen from his mouth, and he stared at Jason. Jason had finally gotten the belt strap undone and pulled his belt loose. At the same time, the Hurricane winger went left to pull our goalie out of position and slid the puck across to the center. He snapped a shot into the open right side of our net. Jason rammed his pants down to his ankles. I couldn't believe it. We were down 1-0 less than 10 seconds into the game. In the same time, my partner was down to his red long johns and his hockey socks. Jason didn't stop there either. He leaned over and pulled at the garters of his right sock. He tugged until the garters finally slipped loose. He peeled his sock down and pulled his plastic shin pad from the sock. By then, no one on the ice was moving. The fans were so loud, I wondered if the fillings in my teeth would shake loose. And Coach Blair was standing on the top of the boards at our bench, shaking his fist at Jason. Jason had the right shin pad loosened in his hands. He straightened and threw that shin pad as far as he could. We all watched that pad sail through the air. It sailed so long that everyone at the ice rink had time to stare and wonder. It sailed so long that the crowd's roar became silent. What seemed like minutes later, the shin pad fell to the ice almost at the other blue line, and when it landed, we understood why Jason had gone crazy. 4 or 5 cockroaches exploded from the inside of his shin pad, scurrying in all directions on the ice. Cockroaches. Those big, black, ugly bugs, so gross they make beetles look cuddly. Cockroaches. Trying to find some place to hide on the ice around them. One of the Hurricanes' defensemen slammed his stick down and nailed 2 of them. With the crowd still silent, we heard the crunch as the stick broke the hard shells. Bug juice sprayed like tobacco juice. Jason struggled to roll his other sock down. When he did, the same result. A high spinning shin pad and cockroaches scattering in all directions when it hit the ice. Just as if someone had punched the play button on a CD player, the crowd's roar returned when it hit the ice. And it was louder than before. I noticed a few cockroaches crawling near Jason's skates. They must have spilled from the inside of his hockey pants. As Jason tore at his shoulder pads, he stepped on one of those cockroaches, popping it like a cherry tomato. More bug juice sprayed. The crowd kept roaring, and Jason now had his shoulder pads off. A single cockroach dropped from his shoulder pads and landed between his skates. Jason threw the shoulder pads and, without waiting for them to land, peeled off his torn black t-shirt. I nearly lost the hamburgers I'd eaten a couple hours early. At least 3 cockroaches were crawling on Jason's belly, their antennas quivering in all directions. Jason looked down, saw the cockroaches on him, screamed, and fainted. It put him flat on his back on the ice. He lay there as the trainer came running from the players' bench. Those of us on the ice leaned on our sticks as we watched the trainer prop Jason into a sitting position. The trainer waved smelling salts beneath Jason's nose. "McPhee," I heard a voice say beside me. I turned my head to look into the eyes of a Hurricane center who had just scored on us. "Yeah," I shouted above the crowd. "Bad scene with these cockroaches, McPhee," he said. He shook his head sadly from side to side. "Don't you guys ever shower?" And that's the end of chapter 1. So if you're a hockey fan, I would highly recommend Rebel Glory by Sigmund Bauer. Have a great day.